destructive 6th-round technical knockout of Kohei Kono. A very impressive display. Kohei Kono came out fast and furious, came out almost Marcos Maidana-esque, Marcos Maidana versus Floyd Mayweather-esque, which is a brutal streaming attack from the opening bell. Was looking to try and overwhelm Inoue with his typical volume. Kohei Kono is known for his heavy volume, his great conditioning, his good stamina, throwing punches and bunches, dozens of punches at a time, hundreds of punches around. But in the case of Inoue, he was also leaving himself a little bit open while in the midst of doing that. And it seemed like even though Inoue's power was working pretty well, like in the first couple of rounds, Kono was still throwing back, and as each round began again, it's almost like the last round didn't necessarily happen. It's like Kono would start fast in the round, but Inoue would finish the round with authority. He would finish the round just with the cleaner shots, the harder shots, and with leaving Kono a little bit worse for the wear, I think, after each and every round, especially with the work that he was doing to the body. I think this is the first fight where we managed to see Naoya Inoue do really consistent, good body work, especially the left hook to the liver. It's almost like that old like Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales type shot, just crushing a guy's liver, to smithereens basically. And he did it in very nice fashion. And it seemed like he was kind of wearing on him. After every single round, Kono was almost like hesitant to sit back down in the corner. It's almost like he needed take a little bit of a walk to try and, kind of walk it off, basically. Like if somebody takes a hard hit and you tell him to walk it off, it's like that's what Kono was doing. But Inoue was catching him, with good left hooks. Kono was catching Inoue with some occasional good shots as well. He was doubling, tripling, quadrupling up on the hooks. Just with that wild Maidana, Mayorga type style, just throwing punches from at all angles from everywhere. Hit Inoue with a couple of nice right hands, overhand rights, high up on the temple. But Inoue never really looked especially worried. He started to put up that high guard as opposed to using the Philly shell type defense, which worked a little bit better for him against that swarming style of Kono. And he was just starting to try and catch and counter basically, and made it so that even when Kono managed to get Inoue up on the ropes, he was able to kind of dodge, weave, and swerve right off the ropes and get back into position to get his own punches off. Looked very good, and eventually, as he was kind of wearing Kono down, by the time the 6th round came around, it was really a shocker. It came by surprise, the fact that Inoue managed to just catch Kono with a check left hook as Kono was lunging forward and just drop him pretty much flat on his back with just a flush left hook, kind of almost like going in backwards into the side. Just a beautiful hook that he dropped Kono with. Kono looked like he wasn't going to get up at first, make the 10 count. He looked, pretty shaky as he was like trying to get his bearings together before he managed to get up on his feet. Robert Byrd, the referee, was given the count, but Kono made it up before the count was up, and then Inoue came in for the finish, and he finished with an impressive array of punches. Just hit him with about 3 or 4 punches before Kono finally hit the deck again, and that second time that he hit the deck, that's all there was to it. He was down for another, probably another 30 seconds to a minute before he got back up. He looked like he was hurt pretty bad at first, but once he managed to kind of get his bearings together, get up, he was pretty okay, which just shows the good conditioning of the man. Even after he got knocked out, it seemed like he was he was kind of recovered, and he was all right and everything, and all his faculties and everything were there, which is good. But Inoue just showed off just a further impressive display and array of skills. From what we've seen of him in the past. We've seen him go to war with a guy that he couldn't knock out. In David Carmona, we've seen him blast out an established champion in Omar Narvaez, or like the likes of Adrian Hernandez. We've seen him out technique a guy in the skill set that he showed against the current light flyweight WBA champion Ryuichi Taguchi, who's going to be fighting tomorrow night. I'm definitely going to be covering that. And we've seen him now take out well-established former champion, a guy that's been a long time just a placeholder in the division at super flyweight. Kohei Kono, as I mentioned in my preview video, has fought some of the top names in the super flyweight division the last few years. He fought Tomas Rojas, Luis Concepcion, Liborio Solis, Karun Jarupian learned a lot as well. It's a fighter that both he and Inoue have in common. also fought Nobuo Nashiro, and a lot of people remember when he fought on PBC versus Koki Kameda, one of the fighting Kameda brothers. And he's always shown a lot of just overall ability. Technique is a bit wild at times, but he just the stamina and the conditioning and the pace that he puts in the fight is something that's normally very, very tough for fighters to match. With Inoue, however, he was able to not only match but surpass that overall pace and almost like even slow down the pace whenever he wanted to. It's just that the sheer force of the shots that Inoue was landing on Kono was able to slow the pace enough that he was able to, by about a minute to a minute and 30 seconds into each round, the pace would go from almost like that Maidana-esque, fast pace to all of a sudden becoming a bit more of a tit-for-tat couple of punches back and forth affair as opposed to multiple streams of punches back and forth. So Inoue just managed to pull off a fantastic win. Kono had never been stopped before. This is the first time he's ever been stopped. First time he's ever really been conclusively defeated. All of his other losses pretty much were by fairly close decisions for the most part. I guess maybe except for the Tomas Rojas fight. That one was a fairly clear decision win for Rojas, but it definitely didn't come easy, and definitely not as easy or as decisively as what Inoue just displayed there, especially considering Inoue got the knockout, which Rojas wasn't able to back in a few years ago when he and Kohei Kono fought. But really an impressive display. Only 11 fights into his career, or 12 fights into his career rather. He's 12-0, 10 knockouts, world champion at 2 different weight classes across 3 weight divisions, 108 and 115 pounds, and to me that's as pound for pound as much as anything. And matter of fact, considering the year that he's had, I think that Naoya Inoue definitely should be in the running for Fight of the Year. I know some people have given out their end of the year awards already, and I've said before that I think people are really premature in giving out these awards before all the fights have been fought. People were giving them out before Arthur Beterbiev had his last fight, before Inoue had his last fight, before 7 entire world championship fights would be fought. Akira Higashi, who was also on this card, wasn't able to get a chance to see it live. My stream was jacking up really badly, so I'm gonna have to catch that on the replay, and then I'll report it to you guys, my overall thoughts on it and opinions. And then we got Taguchi tomorrow. We got Jezreel Corrales versus Takashi Uchiyama 2, the rematch, big time rematch of what was probably the upset of the year, Uchiyama versus Corrales 1. I think it's between that and Heki Butler versus Tomas Rojas. Not Tomas Rojas, Byron Rojas. Those to me are pretty much the 2 upsets of the year. Pending what happens tomorrow, of course. But we had, we have Taguchi tomorrow. We got, like I said, Corrales Uchiyama, Kazuto Ioka defending his belt. And then Moises Fuentes versus Kosei Tanaka, and what I think is going to be a knockdown, drag-out war. Going to be a fantastic fight between those two with a lot of just hard punches being landed. But, that's pretty much all I got to say about this, man. I'm just really hyped. It's crazy for me to be hyped in the freaking dead of night / early morning. So I really can't wait to be able to check out the fights later, tonight / tomorrow, and I'm hoping you guys have been enjoying it. I don't have a link, of course, yet for this fight because I just watched it live, but once I get one, I'll definitely put it down in the description box of both this particular video, as well as I might just do an overall recap of all of the cards in Japan aside from my post-fight reviews, and I'll put all the links in that one too, so it makes it just a one-stop shop for all you guys to be able to check out all the fights and everything, and that's all there is to it, man. So till the next one, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.